Did you know it's just as important to have renter's insurance as it is auto insurance?
In this video, we're talking about the importance of renter's insurance and why you need it. If you're part of the 1/3 of Americans, 100 million people that rent, then you're going to want to know about renter's insurance.
While apartment complexes and landlords have property insurance, their insurance only covers their property, like the building itself, not your personal property. If there was a flood, a fire, or somebody stole your stuff, or some sort of other accident that had happened, their insurance would only cover the repairs to their building. Their insurance wouldn't cover any of your personal property.
So what do you do about all of your stuff? Is it just gone forever? It wouldn't be if you had renter's insurance.
So what is renter's insurance?
Renter's insurance is literally what it says. Insurance designed for renters. If you want to get technical, renter's insurance is a form of a homeowner's insurance policy known as HO4, which you probably don't care about. A renter's insurance policy is the cheapest insurance you can get, that you can purchase, that offers protection for your personal property at your residence and covers your losses anywhere in the world.
For example, let's say that you are flying somewhere and your luggage gets taken at the airport. Guess what? Your renter's insurance would cover you for that loss and give you the money for your belongings because your renter's insurance policy covers your personal belongings.
How cool is that? Honestly, wouldn't even know that feature about renter's insurance until we started researching renter's insurance for this video. It's an awesome benefit that not a lot of people are aware of.
If you're renting from somewhere that you don't own, or if you're even renting a room from someone else, renter's insurance is for you. Renter's insurance costs like $100 to $150 a year.
That's like 10 or 15 bucks a month.
And it covers your personal belongings against fires, floods, thefts, and other things that are outlined in your policy. Renter's insurance is required by most apartments, and they won't let you live in there without proof of renter's insurance.
Renter's insurance policies have two main sections. Property coverage, which covers your personal property and loss of use of your residence, and liability coverage, which covers your personal liability and medical payments.
Under the property coverage, they'll cover your personal property. The amount of coverage is going to be dependent on how much property that you own. But the average coverage for an 18 to 20-year-old is probably somewhere around $20,000 in personal property coverage.
Here's a pro tip. If you have something really expensive that you own, like a MacBook Pro, an engagement ring, or a wedding ring, you can add it to your insurance policy for extra coverage just in case it ever gets stolen or something disappears.
Yeah.
So real quick too, something to mention before we go any further. Most renter's insurance policies default to actual cost value because it's cheaper for them and it's going to be a cheaper policy for you to buy. You don't want that one. Pay the extra couple dollars a month and get the replacement cost value.
You're always going to want to go with the replacement cost value, and here's why. Let's say that you lose your MacBook Pro in a flood or a fire or a theft type situation, whatever. If you pick actual cost value, and let's say that MacBook Pro is like 5 years old, they're going to take off depreciation to that actual cost value and only give you a fraction of what you originally paid for it. So if you paid originally $1,200 for that MacBook 5 years ago, with depreciation, now it's only worth $500, and that's what you're going to get from your insurance company.
So if you picked replacement cost value, the insurance company is going to give you $1,200 to replace the MacBook that was lost. Show me a MacBook that you can buy for $500, because you can't. So when I was in college, I actually had my apartment broken into, and some freaking jerk broke in and stole literally all my stuff. They cleaned me out. They didn't even touch my roommate's stuff, but they threw a steel chair through my window in the kitchen. I lived on the bottom floor. And they came in, they stole my laptop. This is back in the day when you used to have DVDs, and I had like a big fat binder of them. I think I had 2 binders. I probably had like 400 or 500 DVDs. I used to collect DVDs. I mean,
They don't even know about those days.
Nah, man. Those are old days. But anyways, they're expensive. They're like 10 to 20 bucks per DVD, right? And I blew a lot of money on them when I was young. So anyways, they took my watches, they took my cologne, they took my freaking snowboarding jackets, they took my snowboard, they took my shoes. I wear a size 13 shoe. Who takes a size 13 shoe? Anyways, thankfully I had renter's insurance and I had replacement cost value, right? And I had to prove that I owned all this crap, and thankfully I didn't have the receipts, but I had pictures. So that's how I proved that I owned it, and I submitted all that to the insurance company. And I got a lot of money back, especially because of the DVDs. But if I had chosen actual cost value of what those DVDs were worth, 5 years later after I bought them or whatever it was, I would have gotten like pennies for them because DVDs aren't worth crap. But the replacement cost value is like 10 or 20 bucks per DVD. So these a-holes stole my stuff, or a-hole, I don't know if it was multiple people or just one. But I got a lot of money just to go buy all new crap, which, I mean, in the end actually did me a favor because I got a lot of nicer stuff out of the deal. But it sucked going through that whole process. And if I hadn't chosen replacement cost value, it would have sucked even worse because I couldn't replace all my stuff.
Okay, so let's say that your apartment floods and all of your clothes are ruined, but you have renter's insurance. Here's what you do. You're gonna take a good and accurate guesstimate of what your clothes are valued at. So let's say it'll cost $1,000 to replace your wardrobe. The insurance company will send you that much money minus whatever your deductible is. So if your deductible is $250, they're gonna send you $750 to replace your wardrobe. Keep in mind that the higher your deductible is, the lower your monthly payment's gonna be. The lower your deductible is, the more higher your monthly payment's gonna be.
It's important to be realistic too, but don't go and lie either and say you had like $7,000 of clothes, because the insurance company can and will likely send out some agent to go assess the property damage. And if you get caught with doing insurance fraud, it's gonna suck to suck because that's a freaking felony and it's gonna wreck you.
Now, that flood that just ruined all of your clothes needs to be fixed. Wherever you're staying just told you that you can't stay at your place while the repairs are happening, and it's going to take them at least 2 weeks to fix all of the repairs. Luckily, Part 2 of your property coverage for your renter's insurance covers loss of use of your residence. Your basic renter's insurance policy cover, on average, $6,000 a year to put you in a hotel while the repairs are happening at your residence.
So, another fun story. When I had to use my renter's insurance is I was living on the 3rd floor, same complex, but after I got broken into, they moved us to the 3rd floor, and then there was a big windstorm that came through, ripped off a bunch of shingles, and then there was a rainstorm that came and just flooded everything. So I wake up to my roommate yelling, "Alex!" And I run in there at like 2 in the morning, and he's literally holding a bubble in the ceiling, right? So it wasn't a flood, but it was water damage, and he was like, "Dude, go get some pots and pans." I'm like, "We don't have pots and pans for that. We're like 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I go get like the little pots and pans we cook spaghetti in and stuff. And he's like, all right. So I'm going to poke a hole in this thing. And then it'll be slow, so you can like run back and forth with the pots and pans. I was like, before you do that, let's move all your expensive shit out of the way. And then, we'll try your idea. So we get all this stuff out of the way, move his TV, move his computer, move his bed. And he goes, boop. And wouldn't you know, it wasn't a small leak, it was a goosh all over the place, right? So everything in his room's ruined. Doesn't matter because we tried to move it out of the way, but that splash got all over everything. And so he had to file renter's insurance for that. And then we ended up, they didn't put us in a hotel, but they did move us to another apartment in that same complex. Needless to say, we didn't renew at that complex once our time was up. We got out of that place because it was like nothing but bad juju.
Clearly, don't be Alex's roommate. Section 2 of your renter's insurance policy is personal liability. Now, let's say that you started that flood because you left the sink on by accident, you forgot about it, or your tub leaked and overflowed everywhere, or something else that you did and you made water go everywhere as a result. And you ruined all of your clothes and the personal belongings of the neighbor that lives below you. And it was totally your fault because, like I said, you'd caused whatever had happened to make all that stuff happen.
This part of your renter's insurance is going to cover the cost of the damages and repairs up to a certain dollar amount. This dollar amount is going to vary depending on the policy that you choose, but typically it's like $200,000 or $300,000 on average. So when the landlord and the tenant come after you to pay all the repairs, you're covered by your renter's insurance. If you don't have renter's insurance, then you're screwed and you got to pay for that out of pocket.
Woo!
That actually happened to my wife's best friend. They were renting a duplex or a townhouse, whatever you call it, and they went out of the country for like 2 months. And while they left, a freaking water pipe burst in their second story, their 2-story duplex, and flooded out the upstairs, flooded out the downstairs, ruined the walls in between their duplex and the unit next to them. And so they came back and they had to, like, all their stuff was ruined and the house had to, like, be totally remodeled. And what's funny is while they're on this trip, no, they went out of the country. No, they were going around the U.S. Anyways, while they're on this trip, somebody broke into their car. And when they filed their claim on this road trip, the insurance agent was like, yo, you guys don't have renter's insurance? What's wrong with you? Get renter's insurance. It's cheap. So they upgraded it to while they're gone. And luckily, they upgraded like right before this happened. Otherwise, that would have been totally them. They would have been totally on the hook for all of that. But they had renter's insurance and they didn't have to pay a single dime. Lastly, your renter's insurance comes with liability coverage that's going to cover medical payments to any of your guests that get hurt at your house in the event of an accident. The amount of renter's insurance is going to depend on your policy, on how much it pays out, but the average is like $1,000 per person, which isn't much, but it's important to remember this benefit doesn't cover you. If you get hurt at your own house, your personal health insurance has to be used in order to cover your own medical expenses.
Liability coverage is super important to have. Let's say that somebody is at your house and they trip over your rug and break their leg, and it's deemed your fault because it's your rug at your house. Or they're in somebody's garage at their house and they're working out on their gym equipment and they almost trip and die over these rugs, these rubber mats that they have because they don't have them level for whatever reason and it's right in the path where you walk.
Dude, it's part of the agility training.
It's ridiculous. But let's say you didn't have renter's insurance and these people didn't have medical insurance and they wanted to sue you and they wanted to come after you so you could pay their medical bills. Your liability coverage is going to cover you in the event that this happens, which is amazing and great and could save your butt someday.
Because people like to sue.
Yeah, easy money.
Like we said earlier, renter's insurance is required by most apartments and landlords in order to even rent from them. Even if renter's insurance isn't required, it's cheap enough and provides enough coverage to where it's absolutely worth $10 or $20 a month.
Most people get their renter's insurance policy through the same company as their auto insurance, but you can get it separately. I recommend that you do your research and you find a company that's going to be good for you. You're going to want to make sure to check their reviews and see how they handle their claims.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to end up with an insurance company that doesn't take care of their members.
Make sure you keep in mind the fact that you can customize your renter's insurance policy coverage too. If you feel like you need more or less coverage in a certain area of your policy, make those adjustments as you feel necessary so you can have the coverage plan that works best for you.
If you guys like this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you check out our other video, How to Get Your First Apartment. And in the comments below, let us know if you guys have renter's insurance or not.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.